needly and sharp, and it's just not. It just
If
it just
this was
feels like
Animal
a
Crossing,
loose brush.
would you plant it in your garden or would you put it in your house?
So I think this is supposed to be like a bush. So this is probably an outside thing.
How
But
many
yeah. So for
plants are you
Animal
up to now?
Crossing. Oh Jesus Christ.
50?
Okay. No, certainly less than that. In this room there are 3. Well,
Okay.
4 if you count the Lego bonsai, which I will not.
You're breathing good.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. So there's 3 in this room. There's 1 in the bathroom. There's 1 more up here in the
That poor plant
in the office. Oh, that plant's fine. In fact, that plant needed to get moved to the bathroom because it needed more water.
Fair.
So having the mist of the shower and also just having me there to be like, oh yeah, I guess you could use a little bit more water in a room I'm in often. So 7 upstairs, and then let's see. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then in the sunroom, there is 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. 16 planes.
I think
there are a lot. And a lot of fake ones too, but
I think she's getting close to 60.
That's a lot.
That's a lot of plants.
That's a lot of water.
She's got a whole like regiment that she does on Sundays usually. And I did get her, it's like I guess it would be more of in the cacti family, but it's
we started. We're live.
Yeah, this is the cold open.
Okay, I didn't realize. Well, now everyone knows my dark secret about my 16 plants.
Well, I said that you like plants also.
That's true.
I got her for her birthday this year. It's in the cactus family, or it might be in the succulent family. I think those are in the same family, but
more or less.
It's something like a ghost variant of this.
Okay.
And it's a really neat looking one. It was a pretty rare plant that she had her eye on. And here where we're at in the Midwest, there's some really cool spots. You listed one that you went to get some of your plants before we started going live. And the thing that's happening here, which has probably been happening coastal for a while now, has been like breakfast spots and coffee bars inside of plant nurseries. And we'll like go and get a cup of coffee and just kind of walk around. It's been a really nice thing. But with my video games, Sarah has taken on more Legos and plants, and a lot of those together, Lego plants, which apparently August 1st, there's 2 new plants that are coming to the Lego Botanical series.
Okay.
So make yourself available.
I bought that bonsai tree. It's you can't see it, but it's over there. And yeah, I like it. You can flip it to the cherry blossom side if you want. And like, yeah.
So I'm gonna get the Deku tree.
Of course, absolutely.
But also,
that's an expensive set.
I gotta plug something here. This is not a sponsorship. I just think this is an incredible thing and an incredible name. I came across an album on Spotify that is the Ocarina of Time jazz album, and it's performed by the Deku Trio.
Oh shit. Okay, that's pretty good.
And that is so fucking good. So anyway, check it out. And welcome to the Casual Hour.
There was like a hip hop album I found one time. I do not, again, this is also not an endorsement because I do not remember if it's any good or not. I'm going to guess it's bad. But it was like a hip hop version of Ocarina of Time music, and it was called Ocarina of Rhyme.
Oh my God. That's really good.
It was a great name. I cannot speak to the quality of the album.
Well, if you need something that you can speak to the quality of, look no further than the Casual Hour, which you found episode 380, if you can believe it.
I can't believe it. That's too many episodes.
It's too many episodes, but tonight's an important one because you and I are going to talk about some cool video games that we've been playing. We're going to check in on a few that we've been playing for a while also. But there was a Nintendo Direct, and boy howdy, there was a Nintendo Direct, and we're going to talk about it. So we'll have it playing behind us here in a little bit, and I don't think we're going to go down everything in detail, but we're going to go over some really cool stuff because there was a lot.
Yeah. It was a good show.
It was a good show, and we're going to hope to give you a good show. It's June 19th, and Chase and I have games to tell you about.
Did you just say the date? Because it's always hard for me to say the dates on my other podcasts. You're just showing me up now.
No, I didn't even think about that until this very moment where I was like, oh yeah,
How
Chase,
dare you?
how dare I? But hey, you know what? Let's go ahead. I'm going to hit it in chat here. I got to be on one of your podcasts. I didn't have to drive. I got to be a
Sure.
passenger princess for once, and I really liked
How
it.
did it feel?
It felt
Yeah.
great. It felt fun.
I mean,
Well,
you get to do that every once in a while when it comes to like a deep dive or something like that, where you kind of get to
oh,
sit
for
back
sure.
and
But no,
see how the sausage
it
is
was
made.
great to hang out with Pierce. It was okay to hang out with Johnny. It was wonderful to see you. We talked about Fallout. Had a great time doing that.
The
Pilot
TV
programs.
show.
Yes, the TV show. It was the crossover episode nobody asked for, but everybody got, and I had a really, really good time. And I've linked to Chase's link tree, which I believe links to his other podcasts. So you can take that here. Also, if you're listening to this, just go to our show notes. They're there every week. You can find all of Chase's links right there and check that out. We also, I think, retweeted and liked and all that fun shit on our socials. So check out Pilot Program. You're not quite weekly with that, but you put out a few episodes a month, right?
It's probably close. I would say like somewhere between 1 and 2 a month. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Something like that.
Well, if you can't get your fill with our stuff, check
By
that
the
out.
way, I've watched the 4th episode of Fallout tonight. And,
Did you like it better than the other two?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so.
That's
This is the one where she goes to the supermarket, if that helps.
That's I like that one a whole lot.
I had a good time with that one.
You get some good Matt Berry in that one.
You do, and I also think it helps. Not that I don't like Maximus, but he's not in that episode at all. It just focuses on the Ghoul and Lucy, which I think is, I think that's better for me. Of just like these are the characters I care most about. I don't really care so much about the Brotherhood of Steel stuff. It's fun sometimes, but I think that show. I enjoyed the pilot. I really didn't like episode 2, and then I've been slowly enjoying it even more and more through episodes 3 and 4. So I'm gonna keep on watching.
So good in that, isn't he?
He really is.
He's really good in that.
I did talk to you at one point of like why. I think we had mentioned like why are there so many flashbacks? Maybe in pilot program. I was like, well, because you got Walton Goggins, but he's all in his fucking ghoul makeup. You gotta flash back so you can show off the face. Let the guy be charismatic without all the shit. Get this fucking shit off me, you know?
You got too much shit on him. Well, let's get into the video games here. Chase, I don't know. Do you have any new games, or do you just want to talk about some of the other shit you've been playing a little bit?
Yeah, new, but I've been playing more Thousand Year Door.
Let's check in on Thousand Year Door. Let's do that.
Yeah. I just collected my 3rd star. Yeah.
Okay.
My 3rd star. Which, man, I think that might be the weakest part of the game. It's still fun, but the 3rd star has you going to a very small location. It's in the sky.
It took me a long time just because of what you're talking about right now.
So there's not a lot of places to explore up there. And they also just put you into a fight ring. And I'm like, okay, this is fun. I like the combat of this. I'm sure they could do some fun stuff. And they go, okay, well, you're like rank 19.
Yes.
And when you get up to rank 10, then you can be in the upper league, the major league. And then when you get up to 1, then you can face a champion. I'm like, okay, but like there's going to be like some kind of time skip at some point to be like, okay, hey, you won your first couple fights, so now like, oh, you zoomed up and now you're at level 10, or now you're fighting the champion. And no, you go through 19 basically straight fights.
There's not a great way to heal.
No, yeah, like certainly you can heal in between matches, but if you want to replenish your items, there are items that you can get, but you have to leave the area, go to this other place, come back. It's kind of a pain in the ass, and they try to find ways of breaking it up. They put in like an email system where somebody is like feeding you some information.
Good that stuff I like.
Yeah, the writing's great. I think there's some fun moments in there. It's just that like, are we really doing this many fights?
Dude.
And you're getting very few coins out of it. You're getting very little experience out of it, and you're really just grinding this. And I think it is fun at least when they add conditions to every fight, so that's kind of fun to play around the conditions. And I thought all of them were going to be curated in a way where it's like, okay, this fight is actually going to be really hard when you can't use your hammer. Like maybe the enemies that you're facing have spikes on their head, so you can't jump on them. But the condition is that you also can't use your hammer. So how do you play around that and finding ways of using items or using your partner's ability?
Who did you keep as your partner for most of those fights?
So for most of them, I kept Koops.
Yeah, Koops is great.
Until I got the new character, which is a Yoshi. You get to name him. I just named him Yosh.
I named mine Rocket.
Okay, that makes sense with your puppy.
Yeah.
So I was interested in the condition stuff that they were doing here, and I thought, okay, well, if all these fights are curated in this way, that's kind of cool. But then there was a fight where I didn't do it right. They wanted you to use one of your star powers, but they said skills or something. So I used somebody's skill, but it wasn't the right kind of skill. So they're like, well, you won, but you didn't progress because you didn't do what we asked. So you got to do that one again. But here's a different condition. And I'm well, hang on. So these are not curated fights in that way. It's just you're like just giving me a random condition every time. And then it just felt really lame. Or it's like, this all you're just making me go through so many fights. It all feels kind of random because part of it is random. Not the people you fight, but the conditions you fight with them are random, it seems. And like this. I had to pace it out there. Slow. It's such a pacing problem for that part of the game that you don't really deal with anywhere else up to that point, and so far, and I haven't gotten super far after it, but you don't deal with anything like that afterwards either. So I'm starting into the fourth area, which is Twilight. Twilight Town. Which seems kind of fun. I like the setup for that. You get to the town and everybody's turning into pigs, and you have to figure out what the hell's going on. So I'm finding that game to be really fun. I can see why people say it's the best Paper Mario, because it just feels like Paper Mario 1 with some extra stuff, and that's good enough for me. I'm totally down with that.
I'm taking a trip this weekend. I'm gonna have some time on a plane where I'll get to play. I'm taking my Switch with me. I'm gonna play that. And then in the evenings when we get back to where we're staying, I'll be doing that as well. Nice. But I'm really enjoying it. I'm having a great time with it, and I continue to just be in a very good mood when I play that game. Even this part, which was a little long in the tooth, I was setting a good pace on everything leading up to it, and I thought I'd kind of continue that pacing, but then I had to slow it down because there was just so much fighting.
Yeah, I don't even think the fights were bad. I think the fights are fun. It's just when you do something like that back to back to back for very little gain. That was the thing that bugged me the most, is that I was fighting these things and they were taking 3, 4, 5 turns each time you do a fight, but you're only getting like 2 or 3 experience out of it, and you need to get to 100 to hit up another level. And I'm like, this is slow. This sucks. And that was kind of a bummer.
While we're checking in on some stuff, I'll give you a quick update on V Rising. I've really dialed up the Assassin's Creed Brotherhood part of that. And so you find people and creatures with blood types that you can then take on, whether it be brute, warrior, rogue, creature, etc. But you can get a pure blood, which is like 100%, and that gives you maximum abilities, but that also gives them a higher chance to basically go out and get the maximum level of materials to bring back, so you don't have to go farm stuff anymore. And I've kind of plateaued on my boss ability, so I need to like invest in better gear, and it was taking me a long time. So now I'm just going and I've been collecting the pure bloods from the area that they're at and bringing them back to work in my base, and then sending them out when I start the game. So like if you get one from a certain area where material is, they get a 20% increase in that location. And so I've been trying to find different types of folks to put in there, and I'm naming them after the What We Do in the Shadows characters. And so
sure.
I've got like Colin Robinson, which is a scholar. I've got Nandor, which is a brute. I've got Nadia, which is a rogue. So I have all of them going out and doing this work, and I'm still having a great time. The base is in really good shape. I'm like maybe 5 or 6 away from Dracula now, and so I just need to level up my gear and do that. So I'm still having a lot of fun with V Rising from a check-in perspective.
I mean, that felt like such a novel thing at one point with Assassin's Creed Brotherhood of, hey, you get these people, you can send them out, and it's a thing I still enjoy, but it's a thing that Man, it happens in every game now. It seems where
Yeah.
you collect something to send them out to go do a thing to come back and do another thing.
I thought there'd be
Um,
more Nemesis systems at this point,
yeah, I
but
could see that. Yeah,
yeah.
why that never get more
Hmm.
popular?
Yep.
Probably just because it's harder to implement. It
Totally.
would take more effort than. But I mean, I think about like Genshin Impact has that where you can send
Oh
characters that
yeah,
you're
yeah,
not
yeah.
using to go mine materials. Probably my
Didn't
favorite use of it is. Go ahead.
Monster Hunter Stories, do they have something like that?
Yeah, totally. I'm almost
Is it?
positive
Yeah,
they
I thought they did.
exactly have that. Probably my favorite one is Metal Gear Solid Peace Walker and Metal Gear
Mm,
Solid 5 or V or
yeah.
I've gone into enough of why you should call it one way or the other and it doesn't
Yes.
matter anymore.
Uh,
um
you
but
check
like
anything
I
else you
like
want to check
that
in
when
on?
you're do what?
Oh, sorry. Keep going. I know I didn't want to cut you
Oh,
off. You're good.
I just like the idea of collecting those soldiers with the
Oh,
Fulton
yeah.
system and sending them out and being able to like, okay, now you have this person who's high in communication or whatever, so now it gets you access to this to this new gun or whatever. I thought that system was really,
You know,
really
all
cool.
of us that grew up collecting Pokemon, who would have thought that we would like doing that?
Sure, yes. Now I'm just collecting real human men.
Yes. Uh, as far as checking in goes, have you anything else you want to check in on? Update on?
I don't think so. I mean, you've already linked to my link tree. I'm still playing Advance Wars 2. That's been a lot of fun. I guess I just didn't get very far into Advance Wars 2 on the GBA. Maybe I didn't. You know, now that I'm thinking about it, I don't think I owned Advance Wars 2 for a long time. I think I went straight from 1 to DS.
Okay.
So I missed out on a lot of what this one was. Now that I'm thinking about it, so it is nice to kind of get in and be playing it. Whew, I sucked. I really sucked on those first handful of episodes, but now I'm starting to get a little bit better about my strategy and getting my sea legs back under me. And that game's really cool.
Yeah.
I do wish that the battles were more like my thing with there are a lot of geez, there are a lot of levels where the enemy has something that you couldn't have,
Sure.
which feels a little unfair and maybe not as fun to me. I really like the kind of chess match that goes into an Advance Wars game of you got a base, I've got a base, we're going to be making units, and it's really up to using the terrain to your advantage. And when the enemy just has like a big missile in the middle of the map and goes, you have 15 turns, and if you don't
Yeah.
do this thing, you're dead. I go
Yeah.
like, well, I mean, that's not really what the game is, I guess. Like, I want you to set up interesting combat scenarios with me, and you know, they're kind of doing that, but they're doing it by fudging the numbers or putting their thumb on the scales to give the enemy like some crazy building that I don't have access to as something for my side to be able to build with.
Jeez.
And that's, I mean, hey, it changes up the levels, I guess, a little bit. You're not always doing the same thing, but for somebody who really enjoys that strategy of you've got your stuff, I've got my stuff, and let's see how they smash together. That's not exactly what I'm coming to the game for, but
Fair.
still having
I
a good
think
time.
that's fair.
And
Nice.
yeah, yep.
Cool, man. So we did a little check in there on Paper Mario, Advance Wars 2, and then V Rising, and we'll continue to be checking in on some stuff as we're playing it. But I've got two games, one new, one very old, not very old, but old, to bring up tonight. I'll start with the older one. I went back to Diablo 4, Chase, and
Because you just wanted to see more arms getting ripped apart.
yeah, I needed some more body horror. I had read a ton of things from trusted outlets that usually align with what I like in a video game that was basically saying, hey, Diablo 4 got good. And Diablo 4 got good. The season of loot is taking place right now, and I have so much legendary gear. It's great, man. You do anything, you're getting really good drops.
So let's back up for a second, because I want to talk about when you first played Diablo 4.
Yeah.
Because before that was Diablo Immortal, the mobile game, which came to PC, and you ended up really liking. I remember you had a good time with that. And when 4 came out, I know you and Johnny and some other people I knew who were big Diablo heads were really hot on it immediately.
Yeah.
And then it felt like you guys got to a level, was it like 20 or something? There was some kind of cap where
30.
you went like,
hard.
oh,
Yeah.
yeah, it's like this just isn't fun anymore. This isn't what I want out of the game. and it felt like you all dropped it around the same time.
Yeah, man.
And so for what exactly brought you back, and how is it different from when you left?
All great questions. So what brought me back was they were balancing out, because that's what the other piece was. Like, they made it pretty terrible to play any melee based class. They made it pretty terrible to solo things. The game looked great. The game ran great. The levels 1 to 20, when you were just like breezing through things and you were doing a good job on like getting perks that meant something. Nearing the end game, the dungeons became monotonous and very difficult to get through. I did max out my necromancer that I started with, but it just became a fucking slog. And that probably had to do with, there were so many betas that capped out at 20, and we all got to 20 so many times and saw so much of that. So I bounced off of it, and I had paid for the season that I never touched, and it was pretty. I mean, you saw like folks were bouncing off of it left and right.
Sure.
But they've balanced things out. They have added in just like a great end game loop to go and do like really cool public events. There's things called Hell Tides that are opening up, and on those there's like altars you can put things on that will summon big bosses that just drop all kinds of shit. And like the glory days of Destiny, you have people that'll just be there farming, so you don't have to level up with them or anything like that. But I played as a sorcerer because Diablo makes you make a seasonal character when these things happen.
Mm-hmm.
And so I decided to go as a sorcerer, and I went with a chain lightning build that's so much fun. And there's a new class coming out with the big thing that they teased at the Xbox showcase. So I'm looking forward to playing more of that. But I've been playing with Zoe, friend of the show Zoe, and I've leveled up to now the Paragon part with a sorcerer, and I started the new season with the campaign already beat, and was just focusing on end game and leveling up to the end game. And it's cool. You have factions just like you would have in Destiny that you can go and do quests for and get.
Oh, they took the factions out of Destiny.
Oh, well, they're here in Diablo. So you got factions, and I think the Iron Wolves are who I've been doing the most with right now. And there's some really cool, like you have legendary and then you have unique gear, and you can do some really cool transmogging stuff. You can break that stuff down. But I've been having a great time playing with the controller, been playing in the handheld as well. It's been really cool, man. But the game that I'm excited the most to tell you about.
Sorry, when does that new piece come out?
October, and you can pre-order it now and get some unlockable stuff in the game. Again, kind of like what Destiny does. You can get a
Sure.
It looks like it's gonna be kind of like jungle based where you're going in the game, and so there's like you can get a leopard mount instead of a horse, and you can ride a leopard now. And
sure.
There's some like legendary gear that you can swap over your armor, which is fun. But yeah, man, I'm having a really good time with it, and I've been just unwinding at night. It's kind of a brainless thing. It's a good podcasting game.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
Been checking that out. But I've been playing another game that maybe you've seen. It was shown at the Wholesome Direct, and it dropped the same day as the Direct. It's called Pool.
Do I know Pool?
Pool's made by Noah King. It was put out by Digimoss. It'll set you back a whopping $4.99 on Steam. This is, you like Pool, right, Chase?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
And you like this? You like Suika game, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, what if you put those two things together?
I'm intrigued, I suppose.
So that's what this is.
Also, how many O's are in Pool? This is really hard to find.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, four of them there. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to paste it here in chat.
That might be good. Okay, hey, I found it. Look at me.
It is very animated. It's very jiggly. It's got the juice. It's got a great soundtrack. It sounds like something you would hear on Ooblets. But their dead center bottom, you get a pool ball that if you look to the left, it shows you what the shapes grow to. If you're looking at one of the images here on
sure,
Steam.
I see. Yep.
And so the idea here is that you're aiming, but you're also, it's a physics-based game. So you're disrupting everything on screen, but you're trying to shoot these balls together to make a combo. And the meter on the right is going up based off of how full the room is. And if you get to that line, you lose. So it gets challenging though, because you know how this plays out. You get these larger than life balls that you can't shoot smaller balls around. They trap other balls behind them. It becomes a
Because
problem.
you have to have two that are the same size for them to.
So be balanced, yes. Otherwise, you might be walking in circles. But in this
Okay.
case, I am really enjoying it. It's painfully simple in the best way. It's I've played it on my computer using a mouse. I think this could easily be a touchscreen video game, the way it works, where it's a little confusing. And I learned this the hard way. Naturally, you want to click on the ball you're shooting and just start to drag your mouse. And this is also, again, physics input. So the further you drag, the more velocity you get. You don't have to click on your ball. You can click anywhere on the screen and just drag, which is super helpful. So once I learned that, then my placement was easier. I could move stuff around, and I was getting some cool trick shots, especially with like the white and the red balls, which are smaller. I could kind of ping them into areas and load them up and then try and push things back down.
Can you put any English on the ball, or are you just making angles?
Just making angles. It's not Fantasian, unfortunately, but it is something that you get a lot of bounce. Like if you can crack into them pretty hard there. But for $5, I think that this is definitely something that you should play on your PC. It's very simple. I don't think it's on anything else. I might be wrong there. But maybe you like Suika better. Like, I don't know. This is.
Yeah, I mean, it's cool that somebody has taken another swing at doing a game like this, but not just ripping it off. And there are plenty of games that have completely ripped off Suika game, but to do something mechanically a little bit different, and to make you look at something a little bit differently. I mean, it reminds me also a little bit of, the threes versus 2048 kind of stuff, where you still are trying to smash things together to make a bigger, smaller thing, but like now you're doing it with angle physics of billiards instead of filling your marbles into a jar like you would with Suika game, or moving shuffling cards together with threes. So I think the mechanical uniqueness of it makes for something that's kind of cool.
There's a few things I'll call out here. I'm going to read through the bullets they have listed, and then we'll move on. It is a small pool-inspired physics puzzler. You create combos and perform bank shots with satisfying physics interactions. You choose the power and angle of each fling. Click and drag anywhere on the screen. I wish I would have read that before I played. Control the entire game with ease and comfort using just your mouse. Charming and customizable background and faces. Compete against yourself to beat your high score. This one I'm excited to check out. Share your scores with custom postcard snapshots. And then they say every round is different. It's endlessly replayable. So definitely worth checking out. It's sitting at a very positive on Steam right now. $5. Pool. Pool.
Yeah, seems like a nice kind of cool down game.
Absolutely.
I guess that's just not the way I play PC games. Like I would absolutely play this on a phone for 5 minutes before going to bed, But the idea of if I'm playing a game on my computer, it's like, okay, well, I'm loading up Steam and I'm going to this thing and I'm playing this and I'm going to sit here for an hour plus to play this game. So I really do hope it comes to mobile, because that is probably where I would get more use out of it.
Yeah, I don't know necessarily how big this Noah King is or what the plans are there, but I do think it's worth checking out.
Yeah,
Chase, why don't
I have to imagine a mobile version is in the works.
Oh yeah, why don't we move over to the Direct? Let's talk a little bit about this Nintendo Direct. This is from June 18th, so just yesterday.
Just happened. This one was pretty exciting. I kind of knew going in. We had talked about it a little bit before of what are you looking forward to for Summer Games Fest. I'm like, well, not to be that guy, but Nintendo. Like I know they're not going to be here for the Summer Games Fest stuff, but there is a Direct that we've heard it was happening sometime this month, and lo and behold, it happened yesterday.
And let's be honest, like we all kind of like they hadn't had a whole lot of huge bangers listed so far this year. I mean, Paper Mario, Thousand Year Door has been great, but they had Princess Peach Showtime. And outside of that, they've been very, very open. Like, hey, we're not talking about the Switch successor. We're going to let you know sometime. So I think a lot of people had high hopes but low expectations.
Yeah, like the biggest thing that we know is coming is Luigi's Mansion, right? And
Well,
even
yeah.
that's a remake.
Yep.
And that's next week or something. It's pretty soon.
Yeah.
So you're like, man, what else do they have, right? And we got to see a little bit. And man, I've got like 11-ish games on my list here, which I was pretty impressed that we got a number of really cool things. And even beyond the 11 that I've got, and we certainly don't have to talk about all 11, but um and I know you've got some as well, but um like I felt really confident about what Nintendo was
Yeah, man.
bringing, and what their partners are bringing too. These were not all just Nintendo games, but these are all games that will show up on Switch.
I say this not to be a dick, but I didn't think I would be buying any more Switch games this year.
Sure. I mean, you
thought,
hate the Switch, so
I
obviously.
hate the Switch. But I walked away from watching this, and there's definitely some I'm going to be picking up this year for sure.
So let me ask you this before we jump in: was there anything that you didn't see that you were kind of expecting or hoping?
I did not get to see the Wind Waker and Twilight Princess ports, and
Yes.
I'm not upset as much. I mean, I'm upset.
Arguably, you might have gotten something better.
I got something better, I think. But I did kind of think, man, like we've been seeing a lot of ports. I know that that's another port, but that one I know is in high demand. I had heard that Tears of the Kingdom was it. Like, hey, we're not doing the DLCs so like we did for Breath of the Wild. So I'm thinking, well, like Zelda's going to be done for a bit then. What else could they have? I guess they could bring those ports over and people would lose their shit because everybody wants that.
Mm-hmm.
And then they did something else and people did lose their shit.
And I mean, just speaking on Zelda, you've heard what I've asked for before. I was like, hey, you already have like the Link's Awakening art style. Just bring the Oracle games over.
Yeah.
It makes all the sense in the world. And Nintendo said, well, you're right. We do have those assets. We're not going to do that either. But
I mean, do you just want to get into that now?
Yeah, but right before that, the thing that I was obviously hoping for was Fire Emblem. We haven't heard from Fire Emblem for a while.
Surprising, there wasn't nothing here.
There has been some more rumory stuff of another Fire Emblem. I think we are poised to get another remake at some point, another Echoes game of some sort. There's been rumors about Fire Emblem 4, which would be the next in the remake series, that because they've done 1 and 2, and they kind of did 3 back on the DS. It's a weird situation, and that was only in Japan, but it doesn't. They kind of already remade those games, so 4 would make the most sense, and 4 is also very close to some of the stuff they've done with Three Houses when it comes to time skips and children and stuff like that. And then the other rumor is that the Tellius games, which are the ones that have Ike,
sure.
and everybody loves Ike from Smash Brothers, so those games are pretty popular as well. That came out on the GameCube and the Wii, so getting remakes of those is also something that it sounds like is on the table. And again, we've heard rumors, we've heard from journalists who say, "Oh yeah, they're absolutely in the works. We just haven't gotten them announced." But I thought we were going to get them announced.
I feel like Nintendo showed everything that they needed to show, and then more that people didn't know they needed.
Totally, yeah.
And I think the big things they needed to show, they absolutely did well.
Well, they had 3 big games here. There were other big things, but there were 3 Nintendo first party. You. Here's the good shit that you're asking for. So they didn't really need Fire Emblem here. They've certainly done Fire Emblem specific directs in the same way that they've done Pokemon specific directs. So if they are going to announce a new Fire Emblem, they can do it at any time and it's fine. So, but I guess it's not happening anytime in the next couple months. But yeah, let's show what they did show, and let's start with Zelda because that probably is the biggest thing they showed.
Let me hop over here.
There's probably bigger ones, but for our purposes, I think the one that we're most excited about collectively.
When I first saw this, I thought immediately we're getting the Oracle ports. That's what I thought.
Totally, yeah.
And I think everybody
this is the Link's Awakening remake art style.
Yes.
And you're like, okay, well, that makes sense. But then once I got here and saw that he's fighting Ganon, I'm like, okay, well, you don't really fight Ganon in the Oracle games.
No.
I mean, you get there, but that's not what those games are about. So this feels like maybe it's something different. Or are they doing something totally interesting in the art style? And then as the trailer goes on, and you see Link get sucked into this netherworld kind of area,
Yeah.
And the big thing is that Zelda is the protagonist of this one.
As soon as she drops down, I'm like, oh fuck, they did it. They did it. And
Yeah.
I know this was highly rumored to be what Tears of the Kingdom was, hey, you're going to be playing as Zelda in Tears of the Kingdom, because a lot of people were high on what she had done in Hyrule Warriors, and she was a really fun playable character there. But when they did this and they showed, I'm like, oh shit, this is going to be something pretty special. And I was really thinking in my head, like I immediately went back to Hyrule Warriors, and I was thinking about how she used the Sheikah Slate and how she was using that. And I'm like, okay, well, maybe they'll do something with that here. And then I was,
or are we going to see her like transform into Sheik and be able to do stuff like that? There have been what was the DS Zelda game where she was like in a suit of armor and Link controlled her?
Was that the train?
Was it the train one, or was it the one before the train one?
I can't remember.
Yeah, you know which one I'm talking. Phantom Hourglass, I think, is the one I'm talking about. Yeah.
But
Spirit Tracks was the other one.
The big thing that they did here was they brought a whole new weapon set in for Zelda, and I can tell you right now,
sword.
I don't think they're ever going to go back from this for her. I think this is it.
I don't know, man. People are pissed. Like,
are they?
Yeah, because the gamers out there are like, where are the swords? Like, what's a Zelda game without a sword? And I'm over here thinking like, this seems super rad and super inventive to be able to have basically this item, this staff that allows you to kind of copy and save. It feels like a natural progression from a Tears of the Kingdom that they have now thrown back into the top-down Zelda style.
Well, not only that, it's like, what if we took what we learned from Tears of the Kingdom, which people loved, and what if we took what we learned from Link Between Worlds and bring that into this? And it feels this is what's so crazy about this, is it feels so historically like lore based for what Zelda is, while still being so informed by modern Zelda games, which I fucking adore. And look, I'm not saying I'm the biggest Zelda fan in the world, but I adore this. I'm probably the biggest Zelda fan and to see people being upset that you are not fighting with swords. I think to have Zelda collect and do necromancer style fucking combat, be able to make shit and get super inventive. I can show you 1,000,001 YouTube clips of people finding the stupidest ways without a weapon to kill people in Tears of the Kingdom and lose their mind. And you're going to have the same thing here. People are going to have a sandbox that they don't realize. It's fucking great. I think this looks so good.
I agree. I think it's so cool and so inventive. You think about all the Zelda, not ripoffs, but all the Zelda inspired games out there. Like you think about like a Tunic, and absolutely they give you a sword at the beginning. Everybody gives you a sword because like that's the Zelda thing, right? It's like you want that sword, you want that thing. And for Nintendo to go, okay, let's try a game where you don't use a sword. Let's find ways of doing inventive Zelda style level design and puzzle making, but you don't have that safety of always having a sword. And I think this is really cool. You've heard me joke around, in the last handful of months about the Cane of Samaria, my favorite dumb Zelda thing. I love using a cane to make a block, and this game feels like Cane of Samaria, the video game.
It does. And I think I would have felt very slighted if they would have gone the Assassin's Creed Odyssey route and literally just reskin the protagonist and just say, okay, you could be male or female. And I don't need to have Zelda with a sword. I have 30 plus years of Link doing that. I think getting to explore Hyrule, verticality, finding new ways to break shit. Like I love in the trailer where they show her put down a big old hunk of meat and distract the birds. And she's like, fuck you, I'm going to put a plant down and eat them. Like that level of play here. Because I think the other thing is like you start to rush your way through these games, like with combat. Like you know how to, all right, shield, block, attack, boomerang will stun them. Here, like you and I almost assuredly are going to play this very differently. The same way I played Tears of the Kingdom differently than anybody. And that was the water cooler talk. It was
Like I
so
wouldn't
much
even
fun.
consider they show it in this trailer. Like I wouldn't even consider the idea of placing down a rock to stop an enemy and
Yeah,
to basically use that as a shield and then picking it up and then
I
throwing it at the
know.
enemy to kill it. That's so cool. Even in a clip that was right before this where there were all the I mean you've seen these Zelda puzzles before. It's like the wind that's blowing you, so you have to put a block in front of it. You
Yeah,
and with Link, you have to shove that block in front of it, and okay, now you can do it. And they show two different ways to do it in the clip,
yes,
where one is like she is able to put down a table and jump on the table
mounts
and
it.
then jump
Yeah,
over, and then the next one she puts down like a planted tree to stand in front of the thing. You're like, wow, okay, you can solve these puzzles in multiple ways. They've either thought through all of these possible ways of doing things, and that's awesome, or two, it is so big and so sandboxy like Tears of the Kingdom that it's up to you to find all of these possible solutions that are out there, and there are so many that we can't even calculate them all, and both of those potential answers are rad. I'm very very excited about this.
dude.
I'm not the biggest Zelda fan, but I love the idea of this game, and I can't wait to play it.
Yeah, this is an immediate day one pickup. This I can tell you right now is a potential game of the year candidate for me already.
Absolutely. And
Like
that day is September 26th, 2024.
yes.
So
That
sooner than you think, too.
you know what I love about this, not to like and we'll move on from it. I
Mm.
love that nobody marked this. This was not like this was pure holy shit like because when you see certain things and we'll get to one of those it's like okay, here we go. This is the thing that they needed to do.
Yeah.
Here like nobody had been talking about another one of these this way.
It's one of the things I think Nintendo is best at, of
Yeah.
not giving people what they asked for, but giving people what they need,
Yep.
kind
Yep.
of, or giving people what they deserve, or surprising and delighting them in that way. And that always seems to be Nintendo's bag, more than just giving you what you wanted. Like we
It's
even saw it with something like Link Between Worlds, where we knew that game started out as a Link to the Past remake, and then Miyamoto comes over at some point and goes, "No, don't fucking do that. Make something brand new out of it."
yeah.
And what you got, I think, is more interesting than Link to the Past.
It's also cool to see them giving a little love back to the Switch Lite. It's not how I want to play the Switch, but I
Sure.
like that they have a limited edition one of those too.
Yeah, absolutely. Why don't you go back to the beginning,
You got it.
and we'll talk about one of the other big games that they showed off, which I have a lot of questions about this one for multiple reasons. So
Yeah.
this is the first thing they showed off, and it's a new Mario and Luigi game. This is called Mario and Luigi Brothership, and I thought they closed down the studio that made the Mario and Luigi games.
And like I've not played the other one, so is this the first cell shaded style Mario game? By the way,
No. They all have this art style, but they're not in 3D like this.
okay. So,
So
Mario
like,
and Luigi
when
was
I saw here and like I saw Luigi come out of that bush, I'm like, oh, this is a new Mario and Luigi game. Because just seeing seeing that style of mustache, you're like, I know where that came from. But yeah, I'm pretty sure they shut down the studio that was making all the remakes and who made Paper Jam and all the Mario and Luigi games. So I was really surprised that we're getting a brand new one of these. I'm also surprised that we're getting a third Mario RPG in the
dude.
year of our Lord 2024. We got the Super Mario RPG Legend of the Seven Stars remake earlier this year.
That was last year.
That was 2023?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, within a year, within
Yeah.
365 days, we've still gotten 3. But we had Super Mario RPG remake. We just got Paper Mario and the Thousand Year Door remake, and now we're getting a brand new Mario and Luigi game. It's amazing that we got 3 different Mario RPGs from 3 different Mario RPG franchises, all within such a short period of time. That is fucking nuts to me. Why are you doing this, Nintendo?
Yeah, I'm really curious about this one. I've not played any of these, but I've been on this very show recently saying like, "Hey, Paper Mario is probably my favorite type of Mario," and I really enjoyed Mario RPG. This absolutely November. I'll be checking this out for sure. Is it co-op?
I would not be surprised if they put co-op in here, but So what you usually get with these games is that you would either use the A and B buttons, or you'd use the left and right triggers to control Mario and Luigi at the same time in
Got it.
combat. So
Got it.
you know the way that you play Paper Mario, where you use the context sensitive attacks, where you can
Yeah.
get the bonus attack to it. You'd use the same thing here, but instead of like hitting the A button at the right time to dodge or guard with Mario, it's to hop with Mario or to hop with Luigi. So somebody will try to do like wave attacks where you have to jump with one and then jump with the other, or jump with one and
Makes
jump with the
sense.
other. Or have a lot of these team up attacks where you've got to hit the timing right that Luigi hits Mario with the hammer, and then hit the timing right again with Mario hitting the hammer on the enemy. And they can be really cool. I really like the first one, Superstar Saga, and then the ones after that started to get more and more gimmicky. Some of those gimmicks were okay. I didn't play Partners in Time, which was on the DS, and it had Mario and Luigi and Baby Mario and Baby Luigi. So
Oh
you had
God.
4 characters at one point. Paper Jam is where they brought in a Paper Mario to fight alongside regular Mario and regular Luigi. Dream Team was one that I played all the way through, and there would be these dream sequences that were these big 3D boss fights that were kind of fun, but also just a complete gimmick where all the RPG stuff you did in one part didn't matter when you got to the dream sequences, and lo and behold, the final boss is a big dream sequence thing because it's the final boss. You want to do a cool showy thing, but it's like, what, I did all the RPG stuff for nothing then. So like they've been a little up and down in quality in my opinion, but there are some really really good ones. And then they also made all those really good remakes of them too. I know the Bowser's Inside Story one is the one that people really
Oh
really
yeah,
like.
yeah, yeah. I remember that.
And that was also the last one that company made before they shut it down. Now I don't know if that's the same company that was making the new Mario and Luigi games, or if they were just doing the remakes. But still, really cool that they are continuing
Yeah.
this franchise when we all thought it was dead. And I think there's a lot of really cool stuff here. These were all basically 2D games. So to see them kind of
Yeah.
go into a third dimension on the Switch is a really neat.
Yeah, man.
Extra
I'll be
for
picking
that.
this one up for sure. This will be
Yeah.
a pickup. Absolutely.
So November 7th, there's a lot early November
Dude,
this
well,
year.
that's
It's going to
also,
be.
I
Oof.
mean, you got Star Wars. You've got, I think Star Wars is October. November is Assassin's Creed. There's a lot happening there for sure.
I'll tell you what else comes out in November. November 14th, Dragon Quest 3 HD 2D remake, baby.
I know. What are you going to do?
Try my best. That's what
Yeah.
I'm gonna do. So we've seen this game in action before, but we haven't heard about it for a while.
Yeah.
And this was not necessarily the show I thought we were going to hear about it from. I thought we would hear something at Summer Games Fest, but totally fine with it happening here. I think it looks good. I'm pretty excited. I haven't played too much of the original Dragon Quest 3. I've got like
Same.
a Game Boy Color copy, and I know it's been out on a number of other systems, but I kind of want to be just fresh. I know it's a job system heavy Dragon Quest, which gets me excited. So I'm pretty excited to just dive in and try this one out. And then we got just a little bonus at the end of this trailer where they pull out. Can you actually skip to that part, because I think it's a really cool the way they just held on the like the end title screen, and you're like, yeah, it's like, yeah, that's what it looks like, all right. And then they pull this out like this, and it's like, wait a minute,
Yeah.
where the fuck did these two come from? And the thing is that they are also
they weren't announced previously, correct?
no, these are totally brand new to us. Is that they are also doing HD 2D remakes of Dragon Quest 1 and Dragon Quest 2. So those games have gotten re-releases in the past, but they have not gotten this kind of treatment. So the idea that you can get all 3 of these games and play through them all, it sounds like 1 and 2 are a package, but 3 is a separate thing. What I have in my notes here. So 3 is November 14th. 1 and 2 are in 2025. And I didn't know this, but I mean, I knew they were all part of a trilogy, and that they're called the Erdrick trilogy, but I didn't know that 3 canonically comes first, or chronologically comes first. So even though they're giving you 3 before they're giving you 1 and 2, timeline wise, it actually kind of works out to play 3 then 1 then 2. So
There you go.
that's pretty exciting to me. I imagine I will play all of these games, but I've especially been waiting for Dragon Quest 3, the HD2D, and to see more of it here and to have a date on it. Really, really exciting stuff. And
Yeah,
this
man.
year too.
You're feasting.
Very much so. How about you? Anything else you want to talk about?
Yeah, I think the other one that I'll call out here. I think it's cool that Stray is coming to the Switch. I'm not going to pull the trailer up for that one, but
Yep.
I really liked that one quite a bit. Sarah got really excited because Hello Kitty Island Adventure was something that she had
I thought about her when I saw that.
So that's been on Apple Arcade for a bit. And she's like, I just want to play games on my phone. I'm like, hey, I get it. Totally understand. And she's actually back playing Animal Crossing again. And this is one that she'll definitely be checking out next year. One that I wanted to call out really quick before we probably get near the end to wrap some stuff up here is one that you've been talking about for years now, which is Fantasian. So Fantasian's being ported to the Switch finally. This is something I played a decent amount of on my iPad and had a great time with it.
Yeah.
But I think ultimately it just kind of came down to like, I don't want to be playing this on my phone. And
yeah, I played a handful of hours on an iPad as well. But one, you're right. Even though this game was built for touch controls and it has, things where you're touching and pulling and dragging, it's like that still just feel better if I had a controller. And also, this was Apple Arcade, so
yeah,
having to continue to pay into that subscription every month, and I'm like, I like this game, but I don't think I like it enough to continue this subscription. And so I have been banging that drum about like, this should come to Switch, right? This should come to Switch, and it seemed like I
kind of thought I didn't think it was going to.
Right at this point, I was like, okay, well, that's just never going to happen. That's too bad for me. But here it is. I'm pretty jazzed.
Yeah, man. I'll be picking this one up for the Switch. And I think it's also worth calling out here that this makes me feel even more confident that there's going to be backwards compatibility into the next Switch. With all the stuff they're showing right now, I think it's really critical that they have a path forward for it.
I think it'd be silly to not at least have backwards compatibility, if not just download the games that you already had onto the new thing.
Totally.
Absolutely. Fantasian, by the way, comes out holiday of this year. They didn't give any more specific date than that, but they did put 2024. So pretty jazzed about that. We can run through most of these other ones pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Luigi's Mansion 2 HD comes out June 27th. This new Nintendo Switch Sports stuff, they're adding basketball. I think that looks cool, but also time's passed, man. Like I don't know if I'm playing this game anymore.
Yeah, man.
But
yep, I'm with you.
I think the basketball looks nice. I think the controls they've built for it seem intuitive, but I just don't know if I'm going to be playing this anymore.
Yeah.
They showed off. Okay, Bobby, stop me if you've heard this before. What if you took Metal Slug, but you turned it into a strategy game?
Well, didn't we play that on Monday?
Yeah, right. Metal Slug Tactics, right?
Yeah.
They just decided like, fuck it, let's give you another one.
This is out now. I saw this is on this. It's on Steam too.
Yeah, totally. Out now. This is called Metal Slug Attack Reloaded,
Is this a remake?
No, this is a brand new video game.
All right. Should I pick it up?
There has never been a strategy Metal Slug game before, and now there are two. And this one just stealth dropped.
Did you get it?
I haven't gotten it yet, but I plan to grab it. So this is a strategy card game with like some real-time elements to it, like some tower defense-y kind of elements to it, it sounds like.
Why don't we play it on Monday?
Yeah, I might give this a shot. I want to see more about what this is. I'm pretty sure I'm going to prefer the tactics game to this one, but it's still wild to me that we've been waiting for years to get this strategy-based Metal Slug game, and now they're like, well, here's a different one also.
Yeah,
Where the fuck did that come from?
Agreed.
Let's see. I never played the Denpaman games. They were on the 3DS.
Yes.
They were
People
like
seem pretty
spot pass
excited about
games.
that.
Yeah, they were like games you play with Street Pass and Spot Pass to collect people, the Denpa men, which were kind of like weirdo Pokemon.
Yeah.
It's like Teletubby dudes, but
Yeah,
they're
they're
also
weird.
Pokemon.
I'm trying to
Yeah,
find them here on the timeline.
yeah, it might be pretty. It might have shown it pretty quickly. I have it. I have it right after Luigi's Mansion and right before Metal Slug, if that helps.
Okay.
And I wrote these things chronologically. Yeah, this won't have the Street Pass stuff in it because it can't. But just wild that they brought the Denpaman back.
Yes,
So
agreed.
I like weird little RPGs. I mean I enjoyed when they brought back fuck, what was the one where you
The
build the
Metopia.
Metopia? Thank you.
Yeah,
And this isn't exactly Metopia, but it is
but
some more
it's yeah.
weird RPG bullshit. I like that kind of shit. Um, hey, remember when you were pretty excited about the Perfect Dark, the new Perfect Dark?
Yes.
I was pretty excited about the old Perfect Dark.
Yeah. Hey, it's back and it's mature, baby.
Yeah, it's very very funny that they Nintendo being Nintendo have to tell you how mature these games are. Turok for the N64, so mature. But yes, we are getting Perfect Dark, the original Perfect Dark, coming to Nintendo Switch or is on Nintendo Switch Online.
Yeah,
It's out now.
Yeah.
As part of your Nintendo Switch Online premium whatever subscription. Perfect Dark's a fucking fantastic game, and
it's
it
very
looks
good.
great, looks sharp. I'm very excited to jump back in. I
like,
played the 360. Too. Yeah, I played the 360 remake when they put that on XBLA. But I will absolutely just play some more Perfect Dark. That sounds fucking awesome. Speaking of old games I loved quite a bit, the Marvel vs. Capcom collection, which comes out in 2024.
Very excited about that.
Man, some of these games meant a whole hell of a lot to me. I played a lot of. I have it after Perfect Dark and before Zelda. Okay, perfect. So this collection, I don't remember all the games that are included in here, but it's Marvel vs. Capcom 1 and 2. It's Marvel vs. Street Fighter. It's this Punisher game that I've never played that's like a beat 'em up. And I think there's some other stuff in there as well. I remember playing a lot of X-Men versus Street Fighter in an arcade. I had Marvel vs. Capcom 2. I was never very good at it, but these games have so much fucking style.
Oh man,
and to see them getting this same kind of treatment that we got out of like the Street Fighter 3 version of this, and some of these other fighting game collections that they've done, I'm pretty jazzed. I know this one was more difficult because you have to deal with the Marvel license as well. But fuck yeah, that's great. I probably will not play these games very often because I won't have people to play with, but I will 100% pick these up
totally.
and play the hell out of them myself. And then we should just probably talk about the last thing they showed, right?
Yeah,
like
I agree.
that's the other big one, which is Metroid Prime 4.
They did it. Those fucking wild children did it.
Yeah, which has a title now. Beyond? Is that what it's called?
It's
Is there more to Beyond?
Yeah, it's Metroid Prime 4 Beyond.
Okay.
Which I need to pull that up here. There we go.
Yeah. So it's real.
It's know what, man? They needed this. They needed to put this out there. I think this looks. I mean, if this is how it looks on the Switch right now, this looks great. And the remake looked really, really good. Also,
yeah.
I have a feeling with this having the 2025 date, I think this is going to launch. This is a system launcher for the next Switch.
I can see that.
And I think it'll launch on the current Switch as well. But I think they're going to show this thing off running at 4K or something like that, 60 frames a second.
It'll be that Breath of the Wild. Hey, it's on both transition.
Yep.
Yeah.
This feels like a showpiece you would use for something powerful, and I think that's what they're going to really try and push with the next Switch.
Yeah. A couple notes I had with this. One, and this is probably something that they will address or something that already has been addressed. But when you show it in this trailer, this gameplay, they had music going over the top of it. I just didn't feel anything out of the gun. Like I wanted some big chunky sounds
Yeah.
But we didn't get any of that because they had music playing over the top. Maybe the game already has that, but the sound design did not
No.
grab me right away from what I saw. And the other part is at the end of this trailer. Bobby, did you ever play Metroid Prime Hunters on the DS?
I did. Not all of it though, but I did play it.
So are you familiar with this guy who shows up at the end of this trailer?
Not a lot, but apparently he's a known quantity.
Yeah, he is one of the other bounty hunters. I can't remember what his name was, but he is one of the other playable bounty hunters you can have in Metro Prime Hunters, which is a game that I played for way too many hours. So I saw this guy and I popped hard of like, holy shit, it's that guy. I remember what he does.
So is he going to be
got
good
some
or
cool
bad?
fucking moves. He goes into his own morph ball and has some cool ass stuff. That's neat. And just looking on Twitter, I guess a lot of people went, I don't know who the fuck that is. Should I know? Should I care? And I think that's very fun to bring back. Is he going to be
the villain?
He might be a villain. He might be like a helper at some point.
Yeah.
He might be some like rival. I don't know. So like Metro Prime Hunters had like 6 or 7 of these bounty hunters that all were going around, and it was like a big race to find something. And Samus was just like one of the 6 or 7 that were happening, which got you into the multiplayer stuff. And like the one I really liked was the insectoid looking one that could snipe guys with a big laser beam. He was awesome. I think this guy's thing was that he could like make instead of just laying the bombs like Samus does, he would lay mines that would chain to one another, so they would make like he could cut off areas and like just deny space.
Right.
I remember him being kind of cool. I think that's pretty rad. I have not played Metroid Dread. I don't really like Metroid all that much, first or third person, but I think it's hey, they're doing it. they're finally doing it, which is good. And hey, also Metroid Prime or Metroid Zero Mission is out on Nintendo Switch Online as well. So they're throwing some more stuff in there. Link to the Past, Four Swords was also something that got added to that. Was Link to the Past already on there, the Super Nintendo one?
Yep.
Okay, so this is just the GBA version with the Four Swords additional extra.
Link to the Past
cool.
was on there. Yeah, definitely cool.
Still nice that they're continuing to fill that out. And then the new N64 ones of Turok and Perfect Dark, I think are nice touches as well. So lots of good stuff that came out of that Nintendo Direct.
Hell of a direct.
Lots of stuff we didn't even touch on. So there was certainly even more, but those are the ones that have us the most excited. And man, I'm pretty jazzed for the rest of this year. I gotta say, there was a time where I'm like, a lot of these games I was looking forward to, like Eiyuden Chronicles 100 Hero, and I was like, that kind of didn't work out the way I thought it would. And we've gotten some cool indie stuff as well, but Summer Games Fest, I think there was a lot of solid stuff. There wasn't stuff that was like really getting me to jump out of my seat. And seeing what Nintendo had, even though Fire Emblem was not a part of it, there's a lot of stuff I'm really excited about for the rest of this year.
Same. It's going to be awesome. Well, let's wrap this thing up here, Chase. We had a lot of fun on Monday. We continue that stream next to us, a longer stream for us. Go watch our VOD on YouTube and see what all the fuss was about. We played 4 demos, had a great time doing that. You can follow the link pinned here in chat. This week, we are not going to stream on Friday as I'll be out of town. But you can go back and watch Jiggy and I play that new Helldivers season, which is really cool. So go check out that new Warbond there. And we talked a little bit about the Fallout episode, but Chase, why don't you give another plug to what you got going on here? And you can also find my links here for where I'm on the internet.
Sure. Go to shows.acast.com/pilot program. Find the podcast I do with Pierce Corshane. Like Bobby said, he was on the last episode where he talked about the Fallout TV show. I believe next we have planned the Jeffersons, the 1975 television show. Pretty excited about that one. So look forward to that as well. And then I have a YouTube channel where I'm playing Advance Wars 2 in a series I call Black Hole Sun. And you can search Chase K Plays or go to the links and find Chase K Plays there. And those come out every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Central. And it did today, so I keep doing it. Somehow I've kept to that New Year's resolution that I'm putting out a thing weekly. And,
I love it.
Hey, it's working.
Hell yeah, man. Well, it's been a lot of fun. Thanks for the recap on the direct, and we will be back on Monday with I think a Metal Slug Tactics game.